2, 1, pumpkin jack time.
Good luck.
Thank you. So yeah, we are a pumpkin. Basically, Jack is not a good dude. He's a bit of a con man, a trickster, and so the devil's kind of doomed him to wander this world as a wayward spirit. And the main plot of the game is the devil gets bored, so he puts a curse on this world, and the humans fight back, and they've got this crazy wizard that is going to combat the curse and break it. And so the devil doesn't want that, so he's got his own guy, and he makes a deal with Jack. So if Jack will take out the wizard, then he'll give him his soul back and he can go to the afterlife. And that's basically where we take off. And so the main thing with 100% are all these little crow skulls that are these little red rotating skulls. They are 20 per level, so we have 6 levels total, so there'll be 120. And there's also 6 gramophones spread out over the 6 levels, and that basically makes up the requirements for 100%. So just beat the game and collect all the stuff. And we start with no weapons, so this is on a new game file. There are categories that start with all the weapons and let you do some pretty crazy stuff. Those are highly entertaining. But this one's kind of a slow grind to start, so it's a nice little introductory level, nothing too crazy, just meeting some people. We run into this cowardly crow here. So the final boss of this level is a scarecrow, and the crow is like, yo, we'll let you through. All his crow buddies are just hanging out, and he offers another deal, so he helps us out and we help him out. And yeah, this is, so whenever we grab a gramophone, we get a little dance.
Hey, I want to see all those dance emotes in chat. Every time we get a dance.
So for a runner, it's a nice little break. Just kind of think about what your next moves are. I guess it does add a little bit of downtime, but not too bad. So we have at our arsenal, we have a double jump. Rolling is a little bit quicker than just flat out running, so there'll be a lot of rolling in between things. We come across our first weapon, which is a shovel. So each level will add a new weapon to the arsenal. And once we start getting the second weapon, we can start doing a little bit more interesting things with the game mechanics.
One of the interesting things about the double jump in this game is that you actually have unlimited coyote time.
Yes.
And what that means is, with the movement in this game, and actually to collect some of the little hidden crow skulls, they expect you to drop off of platforms and delay your jump. And you can actually choose to jump after you've been falling through the air at any point and still get both of your double jumps.
It's really comfy.
There's going to be some cool movement in this run from that.
And another big thing we'll use that's part of the game is if you run past a certain point, a lot of these skulls are tied to fights. But if you run past and get a save, a checkpoint, which are these little cauldrons with the owls, it'll usually, not all the time, but most of the time, it will spawn in the skull and like get rid of your enemies if you restart the checkpoint, which is kind of nice. Whoops. Sometimes you get your double jump eaten.
Yeah, unfortunately, pumpkins can't swim.
Yeah, oh yeah, water is not good in this world. Pretty much anything above the knees will kill you. So if these little rotating platforms get on a weird cycle, I'm just going to try and stay alive, not get too crazy. Oh! Okay. Yeah, the movement in this game is definitely the weirdest thing to get used to. When you're in the air, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just different. But small little quirks. All right, there we go. Got past the rotating platforms, which is usually the hardest part of this level. Get a couple of crow skulls in this field. And the nice thing about this game, which the casual playthrough, I found the combat to be a little tough. It wasn't necessarily the greatest implementation of combat in game, but the speedrun is nice because you don't really have to fight anything. There's a couple of kind of mandatory fights, but beyond that, you just kind of roll past everything except for the bosses. And then this will be the first and only little Pumpkin Jack head puzzle section. Usually you get like 2 or 3 of these per level, beyond the first level, but in every other level there's ways to skip them. Most of the time we don't even see the areas. They're pretty fun casually. It's not too difficult to figure some of the stuff out, but it's a nice little break from the other kind of regular elements of the game. This one's not too bad. Lower the platform, put the box on, raise it, yada yada. But that will be the only time, well, I guess not the only time, but the only time Jack loses his head, and then we get control of the head. Which Jack right now is just the pumpkin. He's controlling the body with his head, which is kind of weird, but that kind of comes into play in the story a little bit later. Alright, so we get a couple more skulls inside this little barn. A little bit of a tricky jump coming up. It's no big deal if it doesn't hit, but a slightly better path if it works. Nope. Sometimes you can grab that ledge. It's a little weird to get to. And then another thing about the combat in the game is Jack will, if there's anything like any enemies on screen, he'll usually target those enemies instead of whatever you're trying to hit. So sometimes if you have enemies next to something you're trying to destroy, he'll focus more on the enemies, and then you kind of have to either turn your camera or just take out the enemies first before you can get to what you want to. And then basically the only like mandatory little fight right here. We'll get 4 of these skeleton enemies to pop up. Hit them with a double jump attack. You can use the crow to attack people as well as interact with stuff in the environment, which is kind of nice. So it'll be a double jump attack, a crow, and then just one more hit to take them out. So hopefully we have 17 skulls now. I need to do a better job of keeping track of how many skulls, but I think if we are on track, we should have 17, and this should be, or no, we should have 18. This should be number 19. Okay, yeah. There's the last skull in the barn, and then one more outside of the barn before the final boss.
When we get to the final boss, there's actually some interesting mechanics in the game regarding bosses that are kind of just an oversight by the dev. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah. I think the dev found out about it and left it in because he thought it was interesting how speedrunners and people that found it were using it. Big shoutouts to, it was basically one dude, as far as I know, a French guy named Nicolas Maissonnier, and he just kind of wanted to make a game, and pretty much from what I can read and found out was he taught himself how to like code and make a game. Spent like 3 years trying to figure stuff out, remade it all in 1 year, and Pumpkin Jack is what he finally came up with. The majority of everything in this game was just one guy that wanted to make a game. It's kind of like a little tribute to games of the past that he used to really enjoy, like Jak and Daxter for PS2 and kind of that style of game. So yeah, we have our boss, which is the Scarecrow. And the Scarecrow's like, yo, are we not good enough for the devil? Because all the monsters are basically the result of the curse that the devil put out. Oh yeah, and this is the nice thing with the boss fights. The big area effects, whoops, too early on the jump. The big, like, radiating pulses of attack power. If you just stand still, they don't hurt you. There's still, like, contact damage, so if you get too close to the boss here, it will hurt you. But as long as you're far enough away. And each boss will kind of have the classic 3-phase to it. We get the spinny round shooting, the ground pounds, and then the little enemies that show up. And then he gives us the spear. So now we have 2 items, 2 weapons that we can use. There's a little menu wheel to select which weapon you want to use, and this slows down time.
Stingy Jack.
And this is going to be used to get extra jumps.
Now that we're in the second level, the Haunted Mine, you're actually going to start seeing some more speedrun specific strategies. The first level is kind of like a tutorial. There's not a lot that we can do there, but in here you're going to start seeing some cool tricks.
Yeah. In anything other than basically the New Game Plus categories, the first level is pretty straightforward. There's not really a whole lot you can do.
Nice little jumps here using coyote time.
Yeah, that one's a pretty tricky one because the little wooden tower that juts out can kind of bump you, and you have like just enough room to get across. The source of many deaths learning this game. Coming up, we have that first instance of using the menu jumping.
So with the menu jumping, you can see normally you only get 2 jumps with a double jump, but if you pause and you go into the menu at the height of the second jump and you hit the jump button while you're at that apex, it'll actually let you do another jump. So you can chain those together to get multiple jumps in the do triples and quadruples and so on and so forth. Let you get up into areas that were not intended. Like right now we're doing a skip that's going to go out of bounds.
It's a bit tricky.
Yeah, this one here is called an extended double jump, or extended menu jump, and it takes a lot to chain together, which it's not an easy trick to chain together.
I play on controller, so the controller is nice because it'll vibrate when you kind of like renews your double jump ability, so you have a bit of a cue. It doesn't always mean it's going to work. Not all spots where you can do the extended menu jump kind of behave the same. So you kind of have to figure out like where to go and when to like the spacing out of your jumps and whatnot. But for the most part, it's somewhat consistent.
Now doing this out of bounds actually helps skip a big long minecart section of the game. There's a few in this level, and it's just skipping an auto scroller basically. So it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, the only downside to this speedrun are the abundance of auto-scroller sections. We try and skip as many as possible, but especially in the new game categories where you don't have access to all the cracked out weapons towards the end, there are quite a few. Especially there's, I think, 3 or 4 in the 3rd level that we'll be seeing, so good time to hear more about the Go Rescue calls that we are marathoning for, so...
Oh yes, the third level. There's a lot of time in those auto-scrollers.
It's such a long level just because of all the auto-scroller sections. And here we're going to use we went and got a checkpoint, and then we're just going to roll off, grab the skull. Again, it's a lot of like sequencing where you want to fight enemies and where you want to grab a checkpoint, and then like kind of go back to an area and get an easy skull.
All right, get ready. Let's get those dance emotes in chat.
2 of 6 coming up. Nice. The bad thing about the gramophones is it makes a save once you interact with it. So if you die, like trying to get back to where you were, you go back to the platform with the gramophone until you get to the next save point. So it is a little scary sometimes to go from area to area. Like for that one, running on the tracks can be a little bit scary sometimes.
I love the platforming here in this section. It's so frenetic and by the seat of your pants.
Yeah. And with the way the movement handles in this game, you're never quite 100% sure you're safe until you are. There's always a hint. I'm gonna fill back up. Yeah, anytime you get past a cauldron, it will save automatically the first time, and then if you drink from it, it will also save, like resave, and it will refill your health. So those are good spots you can fill back up. If you die and respawn, obviously you get full health. The speedrun itself uses an in-game timer, so it's kind of nice, and one of the quirks to it is if you manually restart a checkpoint, it will reset the timer to your last... It will reset your position and the time to your nearest save. We kind of limit the manual resets to within like about 3 seconds whenever you reach a save point like that, but you can also, if you die with Jack, it will keep the time where you die and reset you at the checkpoint, which is kind of nice. So there are a lot of death respawns that don't affect the timer. But it pauses during conversations, during transitions, during cutscenes, so it's a nice way to kind of keep things even between console and PC and whatnot.
And we're in one of those minecart auto scroll sections. It's at least this one's an interesting one to look at.
While we're taking a ride on the minecart, do you mind if I squeeze in a donation real quick?
Oh yeah.
So we've got $30 from Illegally Sam, who says, "Thanks for having me." He did the Battle for Bikini Bottom run that was right before this one. So Sam opted to not only close the gap for the final Payday 3 incentive, but has also opted to extend the new Super Luigi U lead. So the barrier to entry, I guess, for new Super Mario Bros. 2 to win the bid war is now $55.
All right, I believe in you. I believe in you, chat. Let's make that an actual bid war. We can't let Mario sit at 0.
All right, so that skull over there is, sometimes it'll pop in when you get to the checkpoint, sometimes it doesn't. But when it doesn't, you just restart the checkpoint, head back, and your skull's there and all the enemies are gone. Nice little wombo combo. And we have this little sneak section where the camera gets a little weird and then Jack goes into this creeping animation. We try and double jump past as far as we can onto that to minimize. I think I can make it to this side. There we go. It's a lot of minimizing ledge grabs when you can too, which is easier said than done, because pretty much anything in this game, Pumpkin Jack will ledge grab.
There's some more menu jumping.
Okay, this one's, I think we got it. There we go. Yeah, and the walls with the dynamite in them would have been the pumpkin head only sections, the little puzzles. I believe the ones in this level, you spin around and hit dynamite into carts full of, like, this cart has, oh, that's nothing in there. Oh yeah, that is the other auto-scroller section, but we are going to skip it. But this level was nice because we skipped the first and last minecart riding sections. And instead, we're just gonna jump up here. I use the menu to slow down time because it makes this jump a little easier. From here, we're gonna double jump on top of this invisible wall over that stuff. We're gonna ride the platforms, or ride the tracks, but without the cart. And just hop across here. And then this is the end of the level. And this is one of the only levels where you don't get a weapon from the kind of final boss fight. We just bypass the boss entirely. The trigger for that's before this section. Plot-wise, when we got out of the fields, there's an owl that's been sent by the devil to kind of keep watch over us because he still doesn't really trust us, and I don't blame him. And the owl kind of tells us about this mountain on top of these mines that may have this like magical power. And when we get there, we found out the wizard got there before us, and there was an amulet on top, and he has the amulet. So
And here it's time for the most iconic trick in Pumpkin Jack, the lamp boost.
yeah, lamp boost. While you can technically do them in the first couple levels, they're not quite super useful or worth it. Once you get the sword, you can attack pretty quickly, and yeah, so anything that will shake when you attack it can be used to boost yourself, but lamps are by and far the easiest and quickest to set up. So we'll be doing most lamps. If the lamp has the pole on the left and the lamp itself on the right is usually the best setup. If it's the other way around where the pole's on the right and the lamp is on the left, that will be what we call a reverse lamp, and that one is a little bit more difficult to set up. So there's only a couple instances of the reverse lamp that we'll use, and that's towards the very end. But yeah, the lamp boosts are really fun. Pretty consistent, surprisingly consistent. And depending on how you boost with it, if you hold the weapon menu while you are boosting with some weapons, you can get crazy speed. Especially if you increase the frame rate on PC past 60, you can do really crazy stuff. And that's where the New Game Plus runs will get really interesting.
But of course, increasing the frame rate also increases the difficulty of nailing the tricks.
Yeah. So we restarted the checkpoint so we can get back to this main area. Gotta grab that one skull and do another little boost here, assuming the enemies don't kill us before we can do it. That guy we will engage with later on. In the 80% routes, you just kind of completely skip that guy. He's a little merchant, and we are going to eventually go on some little side quests for him, where we pick up some mushrooms. And he kind of pretends like he's a fan of ours, and Jack, being the kind of person he is loves the attention, so he begrudgingly helps out. Kind of go for a safe route here. So once we do the lamp boost, we're gonna get a checkpoint that will spawn in the skull right there that was surrounded by all the enemies instead of having to fight them. And then we are going to boost our way back across the water. Oops. And grab the other skull. And then we'll die and go back to the very furthest checkpoint. But yeah, this is the swamp. I guess I never mentioned that. This is the aforementioned very long level with a bunch of auto-scrollers. Now we run into the merchant, and this is where he's talking about how he's heard so much about Jack, blah blah blah, and can you go grab this mushroom at the end of this little section? Normally in 80% we skip all this because we can hop onto his horse. I'll show that once we get to that, even though we don't really need to. But we skip this whole part. We don't need to get the mushroom. We don't need to do anything in here. But there are a couple of skulls, so we will do this section. Which has there's two of these little mushroom gathering sections, and they have some pretty cool movement, so I'm not totally sad that you have to do... Oh, we got a random rat that fell down from above. It's always good to see. The rats are probably the scariest enemy in this game. They're pretty rabid. We avoid the spiky bits, and you can roll through them or just... Oops. Or just completely avoid the spikes. If you roll through anything that could damage you, you are usually safe. I'm gonna grab these skulls, and then we're going to menu jump our way back up to the platform. You could just die and get back up on the platforms, but since we're here, just be one little hop. There we go. And then we're gonna hope for a... Whoops! Okay, we're not gonna do that part anymore. Nice, a nice little bump from the spikes. Usually if you get hit by the spikes, you at least get like one more jump. That one, I don't know if I got the jump. So, we'll get to show both ways to get back. So if you had died, you would go back to this point. So now we're back to where we were. Play that a little bit safer, and we'll try again for this little lamp boost, and this will skip one of the... Whoops. So there's the little pumpkin jack totem that you interact with. Usually that lamp boost will get you above where you need to go, but there is this little corner. One's a little tricky. And the sweet spot, there we go. Okay, just enough. We got up to the mushroom. And then now usually you just talk to the merchant and you can hop on the horse. But if you did this in 80% and you came to this spot, basically you just jump up on this tree, do one little boost to get up on top. Whoops. landing on top can be a little tricky. Landing on anything in this game can be a little tricky, to be honest, though. There we go. And then you just jump onto the horse. So
yeah,
yes,
this is going to be another auto scroller. So
yeah.
you have a couple donations. You can read them now.
All right, let me take a look.
and if not, we'd love to hear more about the Go Rescue.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look like we have any new donations in at the moment, but I can tell you a little bit about who we're rescuing, or who we're raising money for this fine week. So No Holidays Allowed 2023 is raising money for the Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center in Norfolk, Virginia. So in 2011, a local woman named Georgia Obanos lost her home, and her only focus became how to prevent her family dogs from going back to animal control. So starting out with just an empty building, Go Rescue has become not just a place for current rescues, but a shelter that has grown to rescuing over 2,000 dogs to date. And they're planned on taking in and rescuing many more. So in addition to any money raised during the event, Go Rescue also accepts physical goods, such as canned dog food, cheap paper towels, furniture, laundry detergent, what have you. If you go to gorescuedogs.com, they have a How Can I Help tab, which redirects you to an Amazon wish list, where they'll list any goods that the doggos may be looking for you if you wish to donate in that manner.
Yeah, one of the highlights from yesterday was the interview with Georgia. So if you haven't seen that, I recommend checking it out and getting more information directly from the source. It was really cool to hear from her, and cute little dog that she was holding too. That was a nice icing on the cake. Yeah, auto scroller section 2 of 4 basically done, or 5. I forgot. There's a boat we have to ride to. Oh, okay, we're good. No, I was going the wrong way. We climb this tower for it. There we go. Skull up here. Whoa, buddy. Uh-oh. Okay. We'll do that again. Might have gotten a checkpoint there at the top. I don't remember. Nice, okay. There we go. A little boost to skip the plank section. We run into the merchant again. He's asking for another mushroom, which we will oblige, because we need to grab 2 skulls and then also grab a gramophone in this section. Here there's this weird little invisible ledge and platform you can stand on to get up. Whoops. This spot. Take the old magical mushrooms across, and then there's this big section of mushrooms we'll have to jump across. Where we get gramophone up in the top left corner there. These mushrooms will eventually disappear after a while, so while it's not a huge rush, it is always on the back of the mind.
Time to dance.
And then because we have the save point created right when we pick that up, we do have to make our way back across. No death warp for this one. Oh, okay, we're good. This skull is... we'll usually pop in. There we go. Once we go past and get the... Please, rats.
Come on, rats. Don't
These
be
guys,
that way.
they're scary. Whoops. That's one of the occasions where the enemy is on screen, and sometimes... Ooh, okay. Jack will target the enemies a little bit more than he should. And then here we have the other Jack head section on the right, but This one's kind of nice. We just jump over here. The water's not too deep right in this section. Double jump to these rocks and just skip that part. And then here as well, in any percent, we skip all of that because we can just come over here to this barrel. We can jump up on this lamp, double jump and grab an invisible ledge, and then just kind of hop into the horse. And 100%, you just talk to the merchant again, hop on the horse, and you're good to go. But yep, back on the horse.
I was kind of wondering, like, this looks like some really tight platforming. Like, a lot of these jumps look really, really close. Did it take you like a really long time to get like really consistent at that kind of stuff, or?
Yeah. Just getting used to the way Jack moves. That is probably the hardest thing of this game in speedrun is trying to land on lamps and trying to land on anything sometimes. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and it really escalates as you get through the game. When you see in like level 5 and level 6, there's gonna be some really intense platforming sections.
Yeah. And like sometimes Jack will grab a ledge and sometimes he won't, so you kind of have to hope for the best and just jump and see what happens. It's usually one of those things where he'll grab the ledge you don't want to grab, and then he won't grab the ledge that you need him to grab to save you. But just speedrunner things. Gonna refill just in case. I'm gonna try for a lamp boost right here. You don't really need to do this, but it's kind of fun to go for. You gotta be pretty far left to not bounce off that tree, and then that way it just boosts you right into the next checkpoint, so then you can go backwards. The enemies disappear and these skulls are able to be picked up. And here, I guess you could either die and respawn. We'll just go back across. What were we at? Were we at 18? Okay, we're good. This is the one level where missing a skull would probably be really bad because of the auto-scrollers. But we are still on point to get everything. That jump's a little scary. Too much water in this level. Scary water. The next level coming up has a bunch of water too, but there's a special trick basically just for that level. And then we have ourselves a boat ride. We got our own heron taking us down the kind of river Styx almost. So this is another section that's probably like 2 or 3 minutes where there's not much we can do to speed this up. There will be enemies that show up and he likes to mess with us and we'll have to jump from boat to boat, but otherwise it's not too bad. This can be one of those scary sections where it shouldn't be a problem, and sometimes you kind of get lulled to sleep, and so some of these easy jumps you overthink a bit. Like this one coming up, he'll barrel roll the boat, and sometimes if you time your jumps not well, then it's a big problem. A good way to lose, 10 to 30 seconds depending on how quickly you die in between checkpoints.
And here's a portion we got to do some platforming to rejoin the boat when it gets to the other side of this blockage.
Yeah, so at least they kept this kind of big overall kind of auto-scroller section a little bit interesting. So there's little bits of fighting and platforming to kind of break up the otherwise pretty boring boat ride.
And at least there's a nice color palette to it as well. I'm loving the purple haze with the green water.
Yeah,
nice look.
The overall design and the look, the music, I was really drawn to this game. Really colorful, really cartoonish. Just that kind of classic fun vibe to it. So I do recommend it as either casual. I really love it as a speedrun. It's been one of my favorites to learn and play despite some of the frustrations, but good times all around. this lamp, you could do a reverse. No, wait, maybe it's this lamp. There's this like really scary reverse lamp you can do where you bounce off the boat and get to the end early, but definitely not going to do that here. And this is nice. This boat section and the horse before it, you can skip all of that in New Game Plus, which is pretty insane.
Tiptoe out to the front so we can get off this boat as soon as possible.
Yeah. Good riddance.
No more boat.
Then we end up in a forest maze, which you have good indicators of where you shouldn't go by these little crows with the red eyes. But even so, I've definitely gotten lost more times than I like to admit. Because if you stray too far into the woods, you will have a tree land on you. You can kind of cut in between the trees at your own risk. But for the most part, you just stay in the path, avoid the crows and the bad dead ends, literal dead ends. And this will bring us to our last skull of the level, which is right there on the right. Instead of fighting all the enemies again, we're just going to go past it. This one's kind of far. Get to about here, it should spawn in. And we do a little backtracking, pick it up. The nice thing is I don't know if you can hear it, but there's like a little tune that plays when you've grabbed all the 20 skulls. So there's a bit of an auditory cue. As if, like, you can't see the numbers right there on the screen, but when you go for that what you think is the last skull and hear that tune, it is a nice weight off the shoulders for sure. So this little character is the witch, and it's the merchant's wife. So all this time we've been helping them out. It turns out they want to make a stew, and they want some veggies, and they want some nice stuff to spice up the stew. So they're going to use pumpkin. And it comes with a soul attached, so that's just, a little bit of extra goodness. So that was their plan all along. They grab the pumpkin, and since the body's kind of a puppet, we have the crow taking over, and so now we are technically the crow, or like Crow Jack, kind of, or something.
And all of this is just leading us to the final boss of the level.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the most RNG heavy of all the bosses. And we'll see why in a second, but yep, one final horse ride auto scroll section. This one's got the magical orbs kind of coming and going, as you see. A little bit of added danger. This one actually, I think I probably died a few times in my first casual playthrough. I was not very good at avoiding damage.
So is the RNG just where the orbs end up, or?
This is the RNG for the boss is actually in the next section coming up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the boss will throw out these potions, and they can be either green or red. The green ones you hit back into like the structure that this boss will stand on. There's this big clump of like roots and tree bits, and so you're trying to hit all the eyes. Yep. And so you don't know what you're gonna get, and if you get like 5 reds in a row, you're just kind of waiting. So we'll see what we get. Oh, there we go.
See Rip try and position like right in the spot here where we can get a double on some of these eyes that are close together.
Easier said than done.
Yes, easier said than done. But the way the potions are thrown out, you see they always get thrown out to the same distance near the outside of this big platform. So it's easier to quickly get them to change the direction where they're throwing the potions by going up close to the trunk and then going back out toward the edge. We're in the second phase here, and there's some roots that we need to clear out before the eyes will show up on the tree again. Again, we're going to go for a double here on these 2 eyes. Very nice. Actually, was that a triple?
I wish. Sometimes, oh, okay. I was gonna say, there's this one set of eyes that are a little bit more spaced apart, one by itself. Maybe it was a triple.
Yeah, I think it was a triple. One looked like it went way off to the side and hit one.
Wow.
And final phase here is kind of the same as the second phase. It's just a little bit more frenetic. Got this enemy summoned in who's trying to do damage to you. And now we're just going to beat on these two for a little bit and the stage is over.
Not a bad boss fight. We have a shotgun. What every pumpkin wants. So yeah, we get our head back. Jack is back to normal. And the next spot we come across is this city that's under siege, basically, from monsters. Have a slight little run-in with the wizard, kind of. And basically the wizard's like, hey, I've been watching your fights, I'm collecting all this data. He's a weird dude, he likes watching and analyzing Jack's movement, so when they finally get together and fight, he thinks he's gonna be able to beat us. Spoilers, he won't. But Jack's like, alright, you're pretty messed up. Because now the wizard's like, go ahead and attack this human-owned city, or protected city, and I'll just watch you fight and kill these humans that I'm supposed to be protecting and collect some more data. So that's what we're gonna do.
So after a little bit of jumping around and collecting stuff, there is going to be a trick that Rip is going to set up called Zombie Jack. And we mentioned it in the last level. Zombie Jack will allow Jack to traverse all of the water sections. So the way it works is there's going to be a cutscene trigger coming up in the stage, and Rip is going to jump off of the ledge and trigger the cutscene while Rip is falling, hit the death plane while the cutscene's playing, and when it comes back to Jack, death planes no longer affect him, so you can just run around on the water. It also allows you to just kind of run around out of bounds.
Very useful. As long as we don't die or manually restart the checkpoint, we
dance
can
time.
go all the way. Alright, so 4 out of the 6 gramophones picked up. We got 2 more dance sessions for the end of the run. And we got the setup here for the Zombie Jack. I'm going to try and jump and land right above the water when this cutscene starts. And using the very small amount of invulnerability after the cutscene ends to fall into the water, then we are safe from the water now. Now we just have to not die, which sometimes is easier said than done.
Yeah, dying takes you out of the Zombie Jack state, so don't want to do that.
Enemies can still attack you. Fire will still hurt you, but water is your friend now. And you can, destroy stuff. You can still interact with the environment and take sips from the cauldron so you can replenish your health, so it's not really that scary. But it allows us to skip a bunch of platforming. We skip 2 surprisingly difficult auto-scroller type sections with you basically have to race 3 guards that are protecting these long stretches, these long corridors. So you get into this like little old carts where you would crank one side and it would go up and down. Like the old train carts, I don't know what they're called. And you race 3 of those guards. And you can lose, and it's not great. You have to do that all over again if you do. Now this level is probably one of the tougher ones to kind of figure out the route for it, because since you can go out of bounds, it's pretty easy to get lost. Figure out where you need to go. But we just gotta pick up a few skulls. avoid the humans. And at the beginning of this level is the wizard's telling you that he's upgraded his humans because he's been watching and sees that you are using the crows to attack enemies, and that's what those shields are for. So if you're far away, you can't hurt the human sniper guys, but if you get up close, the shields will go away, and that's when you can do the damage. So the game does throw a little bit of diversity on the enemies for you. Do a slight boost to speed up, and the nice thing with the boost is if you time your jumping right as you hit the ground, you can conserve some of that speed. Whoops, stuck on the bush. So that is a good way to move around in the areas. And again, usually more important for the speedruns because you'll be using the in-game timer. And the timer does slow down when you use the menu wheel, so I think even if it didn't, I would still use the menu wheel to land on some things that are kind of hard to, but it is very, very convenient that it does slow down the in-game timer as well. Here, try and get on the lamp. Not the big deal. I'll try one more time. Just kind of trying to use every lamp I come across that is pointing in the right direction. Oh, got some rats. So the skull up here, this spot you can grab the ledge and not get hurt by the fire, which is pretty convenient. Should be number 18. All right, good. We have 2 more, and then usually you have the racing section before the final boss, but we're not gonna do that. A bit of an extended menu jump here to get around. Usually you push a cart full of dynamite into that little blue thing, the blue explosive stuff down there, but you can also just jump up the tree and just jump around. And then we skip that skull because we're going to come back after we get that save point right there. Grab this skull that's protected by all these rats. Oh god. Okay, we're good. Just ignore that. And then instead of going to the race, we're going to backtrack. We need that skull. So now we have all 20 skulls. And because we still have Zombie Jack active, we're just gonna run out of bounds again. And roll our way to the boss fight. And we'll be fighting the big baddie named Door. Probably one of my favorite boss designs. He's a pretty cool looking dude. Kind of scary. There's a lot of... We'll be taking a lot of hits, so health management is a bit of a thing to keep in mind, but not too bad. We get to see some of the game environment from the other side. Lots of rolling. This is still quicker than doing the little auto-scroller race at the end. And it's a lot less scary because you can definitely lose that race, and I've done it. I know other runners have done it. It's a fun time.
And time for another boss fight. This one's got 3 phases, as I believe all the bosses do. And yeah, this one you can't really speed up much, so it's just going to be waiting for all the phases to end, really.
Yeah. So he has lots of swinging, lots of trying to attack you with his big old hammer. Again, as long as we avoid where the actual hammer meets the ground, the area of effect blasts that radiate out don't hurt us as long as we're not moving. We avoid the stuff he's spitting out at us. We got a tower with some humans, so we got a sniper, and then we got 3 guys around it. He's gonna do 2 hits and then make his way to us. We'll wait for 2 hits, and then he'll spin, and that will take out the tower. So basically we just do all that 2 more times.
So yeah, if you have some time for donations or anything else you'd like to talk about, you have a little bit of time right now.
Sorry, I realized I was muted while trying to read a donation. We got a $25 donation that says, shout out to the flying auto scroller in level 5. And that donation goes towards the New Super Luigi U, New Super Mario Bros. 2, Bid War in favor of New Super Mario Bros. 2. So it's currently 55 against 25 for which game will be featured later on this evening.
Let's get a couple more donations in there and make that a real bid war. Let's do it.
GG's to everybody that's been able to donate so far, raising a bunch of money, and y'all are the real goats.
Yes,
but also
thank you
shout outs
so
to
much.
all the other runners that have been doing some crazy runs. Been a very entertaining few days so far.
Wow, that recent donation actually just put us over $800 raised for Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center.
Well done.
Woo!
So my follow-up question is, can we hit 1,000 before the end of the evening? I believe we can do it.
I think it's possible. I think it can be done.
All right, so we have the Spooky Cemetery.
There's going to be a menu jump again coming up, but we'll jump over a gate so we can progress through the level without doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, this is one of the quicker levels because of ways we can get past kind of intended gameplay elements. We got quite a few skulls in this first little section. I think there's like 5 or 6 that we pick up before we move on. So this is kind of nice. It's a little bit more condensed as far as the skull placements compared to Skeleton where we just came from. So it's a lot more difficult to forget stuff in this level, which is nice.
Yeah, the cemetery has a whole lot of architecture, and like you said, it's very dense. So it's a nice little standout level compared to the other ones where there's a lot of wandering around in open spaces.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's been one of my favorite things about 100% was just getting to play and see more of the game. Because, oh, I did not make that jump. Because you basically are going through, obviously, any percent the quickest way, and it's like beelining it straight to the end in every level, so. Nice to see things that sometimes get missed in the speedruns otherwise. We do have some slightly different enemies in this level. We have these kind of little ghost creatures. Whoa, backwards. Let's see, what can we do here?
Accidental reverse.
Yeah, the one time, that's always annoying too when I don't know if I can do one here. I'm gonna try. Nope, didn't work, okay. So yeah, sometimes you'll get surprised by a reverse like that, an unintentional one. But that's fine. That one didn't work either, but luckily there's a save right beside it, so this one is okay. Yeah, the lamp boosts are usually, luckily with the save, you lose that guy shooting stuff at you, so that's kind of nice too. But if you get into pretty much the same spot every time, it'll usually work. So either maybe you just miss where you need to go by a little bit. That first one that sent us backwards. Whoops. All right, we're good.
And like I said earlier, we're in the last couple levels of the game, so as you can see, that the platforming is going to be quite difficult. So Rip is showing off some skills in the game right now. This is some difficult stuff.
Trying, yep. These big totem pole enemies are new. They're can be kind of annoying. So shout outs to the flying auto-scroller section.
Here's a shout out to Flying Auto-Scroller.
With weird music. The music will cut out in like 10 seconds. I don't know why. I think it does it for everybody. But let's see if it happens. Yep. And now it's just kind of awkward silence as we fly through here.
And as
And
you can see, you don't even need to shoot these gates. You can just hit the gates and fly right through them. And it doesn't really do much damage, and it's a little bit faster.
And sometimes in the 80%, there's a pretty big menu lamp boost before this section. So like if it goes well, the reward for Jack is you open all the gates, and then you can also punish him if it doesn't work, and then you just smack him with every gate. So it adds some flexibility to how you treat Jack. Because I think as long as you don't
a speed run where you can punish yourself if you mess up.
Yeah. I think as long as you don't hit everything else, I think you can go through every gate and still have enough health at the end. Which luckily it replenishes your health, so it's no big deal. Double up. This bit of platforming coming up is probably the most difficult thing in this run, specifically the 100% category. It's a pretty hard trick in the other categories as well, and I hope it works. It's a little bit more difficult on console for some reason than PC. In PC, you're able to do the last bit of jumping a lot more easily, and since I'm on PS4, come on please. The invisible walls are set up a little bit differently for some reason. So we'll see how this goes. But this skips a lot of stuff otherwise. Okay. You double jump on top of this tree. Barely made it to that. Alright, and this is the hard bit. There's some invisible walls like all along the tops of these fences. We have to jump up and around.
Looks good.
Oh, it worked. Okay, okay.
Nice. And there's a checkpoint.
Yep. So you hop back down, grab the checkpoint, restart that, and then it brings you back into the level. And that skips a bunch of kind of side questy type stuff you got to do otherwise. Here we double jump into the plank walking section. Kind of a scary drop off here. You have to drop far enough that you get control of Jack again, because once you're on that section, you're stuck into just being able to walk. You can't jump or anything. So you have to drop low enough that you get full control back of Jack, but also not drop too far that you can't double jump and save yourself. So it's a weird balance on that. Whoops, got the checkpoint, that's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a big long tower climb here, but as long as you get the checkpoint, you can go directly to the top of the tower.
And another kind of weird thing about playing, I don't know if it's all console like platforms, but on PS4 definitely, there's a bit of a pause every time you get a save. And if it's right at where you need to do a jump or something, it will kind of eat some inputs. So that can be a little frustrating. We're just going to boost ourselves a little bit far ahead. Get a save point in the process.
I love all these lamp boosts over these big open sections. We're going to see a lot more of that in the final stage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the final level is just boost. Lamp boost city. It was funny when I was first learning the game. I got to the lamp boost part. There's a really great tutorial by a runner named Crane. And I got to it. I was like, this looks kind of hard. Like, I don't think I'm just going to learn around the lamp boost and see how it goes. And now it's like, I'm pumping lamp boost into my veins. Like, there's not enough. I need more. Just a really fun movement.
Yeah, if you're interested in learning this game, that tutorial is very useful that Crane did. He did an appearance on GDQ Hotfix, How to Train a Speedrunner, and it's a very good tutorial you can look up on YouTube if you're interested in learning the tricks in the game.
Yep, they got that. There's just a basic any percent tutorial he made like a year or two ago too as well. And there's also a 100% tutorial made by Extro, which is I think still the only other runner besides myself that have done 100%. And that's what I used. Great tutorial, goes level by level, and big shout outs to Extro for that.
Yeah, lots of people in the community very willing to help with this game. So if this looks interesting at all to you, if you like running platformers, it's a great game to run. There's a lot of people out there willing to teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And you get to do all these cool lamp boosts.
Exactly. Get to climb churches run by architects from hell. It's a good time. And then there's also individual levels too, so if you don't have time to do a full run, we got you covered as well. Ooh, almost went past where I need to go. But that's a little bit of a... So normally, when we were talking to that architect in the church, the wizard had just come through this section and used a portal because he has access to magic. And the architect is trying to rebuild the church and he's like, hey, if you destroy these 7 stones or gravestones around this cemetery, it's the 7 deadly sins basically. We'll have enough magic and I can make you a portal and you can follow the wizard.
Rip's about to do a cool trick here called the phase skip, because there's normally 3 phases to boss fights, like we said, but as long as you're holding right as you exit out of this first phase, there's a setup for this, but you can go directly back into the next warp for the second part of the phase and end it real quickly.
It's really comfy where the boss is, and it only lines up for the first one. I don't think it's possible in the second one, just because how he's like rocking back and forth. So I guess possibly maybe you could skip them both. I don't know if anybody's actually done it, but basically what we're doing is we're skipping all the other 6 stones or gravestones, and we're just going after this guy, which is the gluttony. And once we do that, we can exit the level. Now we just hop in one more time. That will be that. So I think this is probably one of the quicker boss fights, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, because the last one is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. So Gluttony's out. We're going to destroy his little pedestal thing, and the game's going to think we've done everything else. So we don't actually have to go around and do the other ones. We do only have 19 of the skulls, and we are missing a gramophone, but luckily they are right here. So this will be our final skull, even though it'll only show 19 because we had to give up a skull to get in here. We still get the little jingle, and that lets us know we have all the skulls. And then the gramophone, if I don't fall off this very long tree.
Way out of the way over here.
Yeah.
All right, let's get some dancing emotes in chat.
Nice. Alright, the weird thing about this level is since we've already beaten the final boss, that kind of save afterward overwrites everything else, so we aren't stuck on that platform with the gramophone and it'll warp us back to here. So that saves us a little bit of time. But we go back inside, we'll talk to the architect, the main one, because he can duplicate himself and that's all his little buddies doing the work. Let them know that we destroyed all 7 of the things, and that opens up the portal that takes us to the north. Final level.
And here we're going to have, like I said, some really interesting lamp boosts that are really cool to look at, so look out for some awesome movement.
And this level is really wild in all the other categories. It's basically a reverse lamp boost, 2 menu boosts, and you're basically at the final boss. But it's a pretty quick one. We're going to do our checkpoint thing, get rid of those enemies and get this skull. This one's a bit tricky. I'm going to try and jump. Okay. Landing on this section is a little weird with how the camera acts and how Jack gets stuck in that slow moving animation. And then grab these 3 and then we'll checkpoint respawn us back to where we were. We do have 1 intentional reverse lamp boost, which can be a little cumbersome. We'll see what happens. We didn't use up all our reverse lamp magic earlier. One, the reverses, usually you just have to spend a little bit more time to get the setup. That might be too far. Yep, okay. And if you're just a little bit off on the reverses, it's a lot easier to screw up the boost. I'll give it another couple tries. There is a thing up there. You can kind of see it glowing in the back, but it's the intended way to interact with this. There's like an invisible bridge, and you basically like power it up and you can use that. But if the reverse works, go a little bit to the left, go a little bit up. Got a little baby boost. All right, one more try. Yeah. This one, this is so scary in like a decent run. Because it's so
see that big boost. Let's see.
Yeah. All right, come on. A little bit to the left, a little bit up, a little bit to the left. No, that'll work. Good enough. So sometimes you can go all the way to past this little island, but if you land here, you just do it. Okay, or not another boost. We'll just come down here. Take the safe route. That is the pro and the con of the lamp boost. If you nail them, they look cool and they go fast. If you don't, you just kind of look like a dummy. But we're all good. We don't need them. Do another tower climb here. A little bit of ledge grabbing avoidance if you can do it. Grab this skull. Avoid these rats because they're terrifying. Swap over to the scythe because we have to. This is another one of the few times we actually have to engage with enemies. Because there's a skull tied to defeating all of them. We'll just quickly take these guys out. Drop down to get this skull while the other one kind of spawns in. And then here we'll have, I guess it's going to be our first instance of the menu lamp boost. This one also is pretty specific on where you are. By doing a roll attack, you can like continuously damage an object. And we're in slow-mo, but we're still traveling pretty fast. I'm not going to go out of slow-mo. Yeah. I'll do another one where you can see kind of how fast Jack actually moves, but since we had to run into that tower, it's a lot easier to control in slow-mo speed. But we've kind of flew way further than where we were. Whoops. And because we skipped, we got to go backwards now to pick up a bunch of skulls. So I need to restart this checkpoint because these little invisible bridges are going to be kind of weird if you don't. We can get a reverse. Oh, now we get the reverse. There we go. So even though it doesn't look like there's a little bridge right here, there is. Because we restarted the checkpoint there. That allows us to backtrack. We have our final gramophone.
Final chance to dance.
And then we're going to use this conveniently placed lamp to boost ourselves. Another reverse, okay. Well, you get to see plenty of reverses in this run. That's great.
I mean, you're so good at this game that you're just nailing those reverses.
All right. The bad thing is, since we've gone so far and we have the checkpoint, that when we die, we go back to where we were. There we go. So any death from here to where we need to go will send us back to that point we just started from. So that's the only problem with this strat. But we'll try here again. I think I was a little bit low. There we go.
Nice. It's awesome.
And then basically any lamp we come to, we'll try and boost off of. And hopefully not get reverses because, again, like the swamp, there's a lot of water, so it's a little bit scary. And since we're going backwards in the level, there won't be any enemies, and all the skulls, if there were any tied to fights, obviously you won't have to fight anybody, so they're already here and you can grab them. you don't have to worry about anything other than just avoiding the water. And in this level, since you have access to this weapon, it's like an orb, it will allow for things called orb boosting. And if you want to see that, I recommend checking out the New Game Plus runs. In particular, Jaxler and VT are very good at orb boosting. I am not, so I will not be doing that. I'll take a unintentional or intentionally, you don't really need to do this, but I'm going to upgrade Jack's drip.
Very nice.
Now we got a little December special. Every December, there's these like little presents that show up in the levels, and you can wear this different outfit. A little bit of a scary jump here. And this is the final skull that you have to backtrack for. And then the nice thing is you can die, and it takes you back to where you were. That'll bring us back to where we had done the lamp boost, the menu lamp boost. I'm going to take a slight detour here to see if we can find something out in the wild. We'll do a menu lamp boost and then let go full speed so you can kind of see just how fast it can move. And this is capped at like 60 frames per second, so you can go at 120 and 144, the game gets really cracked out. Even in slow-mo, you're traveling quicker than I think you would elsewhere. So a little Easter egg kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You get this random portal, and you also get a certain somebody's workshop. So this is like the head section. The little puzzle section is you have to basically kill Santa. So, and then here is the final portal that will take you to the final boss, but unfortunately you can't just jump to it. And then that's where in any percent runs you do a lamp boost, a menu lamp boost from here, and it will take you to that final portal, and you can skip this whole other section that we'll be seeing. We'll do the same thing with the scythe. It provides a little bit less oomph on your boost, so you can use that to kind of halt yourself in the air and drop down for that skull. And then kind of flashing colors and lights in this section, so just a heads up. But this is the North's version of the auto scroller, basically.
Thankfully, these don't last too long.
Nah, yeah, these aren't too bad. Definitely died in this section on my casual playthrough. So kind of the trick that I found out, or I discovered from other people, was either do like a big circle around and try and avoid everything, or do like a figure 8 through the debris, and you should make it through unscathed. You can, I mean, also try and just like avoid stuff, but it's a little bit more difficult. A little tricky. So all of this we skip now in any percent runs, this whole section right here. But we don't in 100% because there are 3 more skulls we need to pick up. This one you just grab through the bottom side of that ceiling, or that roof. You see the get up, he's got some lights, got the boots. Looking fresh.
It's very festive.
Yeah. There's a bunch of outfits you can use, so if you want to do individual levels, you can kind of swag out however you want to. This is where you would interact, so we got our little monster looking Santa. And that's where you would do the section where you pop off Jack's head. But instead of that, we're just going to extended menu jump around there. And hopefully this will be 20 out of 20. Alright.
And we're done collecting items. All that's left is the final boss.
On to the wizard. One last wizard fight. This is that portal from the other side. I'll try the figure 8 and see if we can make it through without dying.
Again, this boss is going to have 3 phases. They're all a bit longer than the other bosses. And Yeah, it is interesting to look at though, and the timing for the run will be on the final hit of the boss. I'll let Rip call that out.
And this is the fight that looks way more difficult than it actually is. This is a fun one. This was definitely tough to do. Ooh, I should pay attention to what's going on. This is a fun one to do, to watch people play casually, because there's a lot going on. But while we're doing the auto scroller, if there's anything you'd like to, some information on the Go Rescue Center, we would like to hear it.
I did want to tie in, because we're doing a 100% run right now. The No Glitches Allowed team actually hosts a marathon that's dedicated entirely to 100% and completionist type speedruns. This is usually around the middle of the year, around the summertime. That's over at Completeathon on Twitter, twitch.tv/Completeathon on, well, Twitch. If you've got a 100% run that you want to show off, or are interested in volunteering for an event like this, that's perfect for you. So that's I just gave out the information. If you want to be kept out in the loop, or kept in the loop on Completeathon 2024, I guess.
I really enjoy the variety of the marathon categories. You got the no glitches, you got anything happening for this one, the Completeathon. A lot of variety. So yeah, first phase, he shoots out these little orbs that don't hurt you. The lightning attacks do, and these tornadoes will, but for this first section, you can get far enough away from everything that nothing will touch you, so you can just kind of hang out.
Then there'll be a part of the phase where there'll be some walls, and you don't have to move, and they won't hit you again, like every other boss.
Trying to jump through the holes in these walls was a nightmare. So that was definitely the highlight of learning the speedrun, was how easy some of these bosses were made.
You'll see, Rip knows exactly where those poles are going to spawn at the end of the phase, so you're automatically just ready to shoot them with the shotgun as soon as they show up.
Yep, and then you'll lose a little bit of the platform every time, and then it's just rinse and repeat more times. And then once the wizard is like the final hit and it starts the cutscene, will be time. So there's like a couple minutes left of the run, basically. If you get to like this very particular corner of this platform, nothing can hurt you. Once you get past the little lightning phase, just don't move through the walls.
Yeah, casually this boss is kind of a nightmare, but as a speedrunner you can see it's a little bit of a joke.
Pretty calm. As long as you don't fall through the cracks, you are alright. Yeah, Soul, do you have any shoutouts or anything you'd like to say while we're kind of wrapping up?
I'd just like to say thank you for having me, and thank you for No Glitches Allowed for supporting such a great cause. Thank you all for dancing with me during all of the dance sections in chat. I really appreciate it.
Shoutouts to you, chat.
Also, stick around for the next run. It's going to be a lot of fun. I believe that's Payday 3 with Metroid Prime Indieville. So, definitely check that out. It's going to be great.
Thank you for hanging out with me and being a commentator, buddy. Really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. And time's going to be coming up here on the final hit on the boss.
Yep, we're going to take out those 4 little antenna things again, and then wail away on Mr. Wizard one last time. Oops. Helps to shoot it.
Ooh, oh no!
All right, no! Well, we got 3 more minutes to go. Speaking of, all right, I will take the jumps in between attacks a little bit more carefully now. And that's why we give a big estimate.
So we talked about the community for this game. Is there anywhere in particular that you can direct people to go if they want to join this community and talk to all the other runners?
There's a lot of links and guides on the speedrun.com page. I think there's a link to the Discord there if you want to join that. Activities slowed down a little bit as far as runs go, but there's always people around and definitely willing to help out. A lot of people that know a lot about this game. So huge shout outs to Crane and Extra for the tutorials. Everybody, like all the old OG runners that found all the cool lamp boosts. Shout outs to the dev for leaving all the cool stuff in. Not get too crazy with patches and stuff. You don't have to down patch or anything. You can play on the latest version and still be able to do anything. Everybody's pretty cool. Very chill. Some very good runners.
Back to our cozy little corner.
Yeah, we'll play this one extra safe. And then the most terrifying thing about finishing a run is checking to make sure you actually got everything. There's been quite a few where it's been like a 99% run. But I'm pretty sure we got everything this time. Alright, I'm gonna slowly jump across. Slowly jump across. Not even gonna jump across. There we go. Alright, one more phase and then it'll be hopefully time.
Guess I'll shout out one more time. I am Soulmass218. If you want to follow me on Twitch, I'm also a speedrunner. It's not a pumpkin jack. I run a couple other games. I do like Shadow of the Colossus, Abzu, Journey. I run a whole bunch of games, to be honest. So if you're interested in seeing these speedrun games, you can follow me over there. Rip, where can people watch you?
Yeah, here, there, and everywhere. But yeah, you run a lot of cool games, actually. Just big shout outs to your little profile picture of the Shadow of the Colossus guy wearing the glasses.
Yeah, Shadow of the Colossus is where I cut my teeth as a speedrunner, so I hold that game close to my heart.
Super cool speedrun. Alright, I'm scared now, so I'm just gonna be extra safe. Alright, here we go.
Alright, let's do this.
Should be coming up. That's time.
GG's, very good run.
Yeah, we put a cap in the wizard. He drops the amulet. The amulet turns out it's like it needs a human soul to be powered up. And because we're basically just a soul, Pumpkin Jack is now got all these powers. So he kind of goes off and does his own thing. He's like, you can chill, devil. I don't really need you anymore. We've kind of doomed all humanity. But that's okay. And that's the game.
Victory at last!
Victory at last.
So the cool thing in the credits is you get to see some like screenshots and kind of some dates of how the game came together and see the progression a little bit. I always thought that was pretty neat.
And we'll go out to the menu and just confirm that everything is collected.
Let's see. So my favorite thing for the skulls is you need all the skulls to be able to buy all the outfits. So as long as you can buy everything, then you're good on skulls. So we are good there. And then gramophones will show up in the level select. So yeah, we are officially 100%. Nice. So yeah, thanks again. No glitches allowed. This has been Pumpkin Jack 100%. Appreciate it. Looking forward to some more runs. We got ourselves another full day of runs, I think, too. It's been a few days and we still have one more. So yeah,
and I believe the next one I was wrong. This one is Gunstar Heroes. So definitely watch Gunstar Heroes. That game's awesome.
Yeah, that's, I think, Tempest Mask, I believe.
Yes, Tempest Mask is gonna be awesome.
Nice. Yeah. Well, thanks again, and looking forward to it.